Good evening, dobry wieczór, buonasera. It is an honor to welcome all of you to this evening's closing ceremony of our inaugural exhibit, Sacred Images, Holy Spaces, Art and Faith in Poland and Italy. My name is Ania Bieciu, and I have the privilege of serving as the Associate Director for Polonia Affairs at the Polish Institute of Culture and Research here in Orchard Lake. We are thrilled to gather here in the Galeria, which we lovingly call our crown jewel here in Orchard Lake. This beautifully restored space stands as a beacon of cultural pride, a place where heritage and history come alive for future generations. Its very existence is a testament to the vision and generosity of those who have made it possible. Tonight, we extend our deepest gratitude to the Vikiera Foundation and the Orchard Lake Schools, whose unwavering support and financial commitment have transformed this dream into reality. We also thank Niagara Murano, the visionary firm behind the design and execution of this stunning Galeria. Thank you all for putting your values into action, for believing in the power of art and culture to inspire, to educate, and to unite us all. Because of you, we can gather in this magnificent space to celebrate the rich heritage of Poland and Italy. We are also deeply honored by the presence of our distinguished hosts, the Honorable Allegra Baistrocchi, Consul to Italy in Detroit, and Mr. Richard Walawender, our Honorary Consul to Poland here in Detroit as well. And to all our distinguished guests, your presence tonight underscores the importance of cultural diplomacy and the enduring bonds between our nations. As Poles, we stand for resilience, creativity, and faith, qualities that resonate so deeply with our Italian friends. These shared values are beautifully reflected in the exhibit around us, a harmonious collaboration celebrating the intersection of our two cultures. Tonight, we honor not just our heritage, but also the friendships and the partnerships that enrich it. Later this evening, we'll be graced by a musical performance by Jake Suzin and Vanessa Kwiatkowski, whose artistry will transport us into the heart of this cultural celebration. We are also profoundly grateful to Mr. John Zaretti, co-founder of the Verdi Opera Theater of Michigan, for his invaluable guidance in shaping tonight's program. Finally, I would like to introduce someone whose passion and expertise have brought this exhibit to life, Dr. Jan Radziłowski, Director of the Polish Institute and Curator of Sacred Images, Holy Spaces. His dedication and storytelling have transformed this exhibit into a journey through time, faith, and artistic expression. Thank you all for joining us tonight. It is a privilege to share this moment with you as we celebrate not only the close of this exhibit, but the opening of new connections, understanding, and pride in our heritage. Serdecznie witamy wszystkich Państwa. Dziękujemy za Państwa obecność i wsparcie. Cieszymy się, że możemy wspólnie celebrować naszą kulturę i dziedzictwo w tym wyjątkowym miejscu, które powstało dzięki hojności i zaangażowania naszych przyjaciół. Życzymy Państwu niezapomnianego wieczoru. Thank you, and now please join me in welcoming Dr. Jan Radziłowski.
Thank you, and welcome to our Galeria. Welcome to this beautiful space and to our exhibit. I am Dr. Jan Radziłowski, Director of the Polish Institute of Culture and Research at the Orchard Lake campus. And I'm very pleased to have all of you here tonight to see our exhibit. This exhibit celebrates the connection between Poland and Italy, between Polish Americans and Italian Americans here as well in the United States. The connection between Poland and Italy dates back over 600 years. Our campus in particular, however, dates back, our connection to Italy dates back to 1879. In 1879, a Polish Franciscan who founded the first Polish community in the United States in Texas, Father Leopold Mochigemba, traveled to Rome to gain permission from Pope Leo XIII to open this seminary for Polish priests to serve the new immigrant community here in the United States. He received that permission. He spent a wonderful time in Rome. We even have a souvenir of his visit, so we know that he enjoyed his time in Rome, and he returned here with that permission. And we opened in 1885 with that papal permission, and then moved to this campus in 1909. We also have a deep connection to Italy through the veterans of the Polish Second Corps. This facility and our archives and our museum contain a lot of materials from the Polish Second Corps, which helped to liberate Italy. Our chapel has a memorial to those who fell along the way, who fell at Monte Cassino, at Ancona and Bologna. And for the veterans would go back every year from Michigan, from Orchard Lake to Italy to visit at a time when they were the ones caring for the cemetery at Monte Cassino. And so Italy was always very, very close to our heart. Our exhibit shows that connection. We had many priests, of course, going back and forth to Rome. Our founder, Father Dombrowski, had his seminary years in Rome as well. And so this was always a deep connection that everyone at Orchard Lake cherished and loved. Our exhibit is all about places and how art and beauty can transform those places into something sacred. For both Poles and Italians, art and sacred image mark our identities. This means not only churches and chapels, but in the private and intimate confines of the home. Beauty incarnates holiness in the spaces we live, work, and worship. The immigrants who came from Poland and Italy brought with them that sense of holiness. God is present, not only in the spirit, but also in the flesh. And here, with art, is the way that we show that. They built churches and chapels, but they also made spaces within their homes to worship and to pray and to honor their faith and their culture. And it was for this reason that Orchard Lake became a place of learning, faith, and beauty. So we celebrate spaces in multiple ways, both here on our campus, in the home, and in the places that we worship. We invite you to, after the performance, look at the exhibit. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. We do have guides in English and Polish. Unfortunately, not yet Italian. We're not that advanced yet. We are, but we're working toward it. So we will take that. But please feel free to ask us questions and enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now we'd like to introduce our wonderful hosts for the evening. The Honorable Allegra Baistrocchi,
very good pronunciation,
Consul to Italy, as well as Mr. Richard Walawender, Honorary Consul to Poland. Thank you both for hosting, for sponsoring this exhibit, and for supporting us in so many wonderful ways.
Grazie e buonasera a tutti. We can work on having an Italian guide if you need one. I need to thank John Rajalowski. I've been working on my Polish pronunciation. They've done fabulous Italian pronunciation for my last name. I want to thank John. He was able to take me, besides to give me a few tidbits on today's exhibit. We were able to go together to the church, which I strongly advise all of you to go see. It is absolutely beautiful. It's very touching. They have a reliquary of Papa Wojtyła, which, if you're like me, Italian, somewhat born in the 80s, even something before, like Papa Wojtyła was your pope. I really feel an incredible connection in just going there. And then I went behind. So I didn't know that there were also some beautiful chapels behind. And there was one with an incredible painting of Monte Cassino. And I might get a little bit teary. Because John was explaining to me that on the inscription in Monte Cassino it says, "We gave our bodies to Italy, but we gave our hearts to Poland." Now, having a grandfather that was a young boy and spent his time in Monte Cassino, which was also a boarding school for young boys, besides what it went through during the war, hearing those words, and it really evokes the friendship, the values that are at the basis of any Italian-Polish friendship. Beyond the faith, which obviously very much unites us, besides the beautiful art that we see today. And obviously one thing that I think very much is common to both Italian and Polish sacred art is not only the shared Catholic heritage, but the deep spiritual expression through visual arts. And if you look at it, the emphasis on human emotion. And if you look around this room, look at the people's faces, it is absolutely incredible. And in today's age, we're not living through easy times. It's, on Monday, it is International Holocaust Remembrance Day. It always helps to remind people of the atrocities that went down, especially in light of today's world, right? So we're not going to make it too political. I'm a consul. We're technically not supposed to. But there is an invasion within Europe. I'm obviously clearly talking about Ukraine, and I'm obviously thinking, these are, besides being very close to us in shared values, I think it's something that we need to think about, and that we hope that together, Poland, Italy, and the United States comes to a quick resolution. I have to thank John for hosting us tonight. I have to thank Anya for everything that she's done. Baistrocchi is how you pronounce her last name, in case you were asking. And I obviously have to thank my friend Richard Walawender for being a co-host with me. I've known him for quite a bit, but he was keeping Orchard Lake a secret. So I don't know why I didn't know about Orchard Lake for the first 3 years, but it always helps to come on board. Thank you so much. Thank you in particular to Delia Rodi. Anya spoke about Niagara Murano as the architecture firm that cared for this restoration. If you look at the photos over there in the back, the middle top one is actually what this room would have been like before. In the good old days, let's call it that. Clearly, when Delia had it in hand, it didn't look as good as in that photo, and she had her work cut out for her, but she did an incredible job, and so I thank her because she's the one that first introduced me to Anya and let me find out about Orchard Lake. And just coming here, the serene, view of the lake glazed with sunset happening. It was absolutely beautiful and serene. And to think that Papa Wojtyła, whose kayak you can see in church, actually was on this lake, having come here a couple of times as a cardinal, and just the tranquility that transcends from that. So thank you for allowing me to be here. As Anya said, resilience, creativity, and faith, I think that very much personifies both the Polish and the Italian people, especially here in Metro Detroit. So thank you. We are great communities, and I'm so happy that we're coming together.
Well, thank you very much, Consul General Baistrocchi. And I would like to, just say one thing. I haven't been keeping this a secret. We have just opened this up, and so you are one of the first guests here, and we're very honored to host you. But I would like to recognize, because we also have some other diplomats here, I'd like to recognize them here as well. We have Madame Georgieva, the Consul General of North Macedonia. We have Deputy Consul General Yamane-san of the Consulate of Japan. We have Monsieur Balahan, the Honorary Consul of France. We have Mr. Roden, the Honorary Consul of South Korea. And we have Madame de Klerk, who I just saw came in, the Honorary Consul of Belgium. But let me just say a few words, and I completely echo the comments of my colleague. There is a very close, long historical relationship between the Polish nation and people and the Italian nation and the people. And it goes back, and I will correct John about this, it goes back more than 600 years. As a matter of fact, if you are in Poland, you probably know the city of Kraków. It has one of the most beautiful churches, St. Mary's Basilica. In that church is a famous, famous altar, okay? And it has these beautiful wooden sculptures. It was designed by Witstwosz. 1477 the work started. It lasted a decade. And Witstwosz had enough knowledge of the world sculptures, the famous artists, that he invited a very large contingent of Italian artists and sculptors to help him build that altar. It truly is a magnificent place, and I encourage you very much to go see that altar if you can. Beyond that, we just give a little story, because I don't know if you know that, but we also share something else in common. Our national anthems each refer to the other country. In the Polish national anthem, which was written during the 19th century, while Poland was under the subjugation, oppression of the Russian, Austrian, and Prussian empires, there was a Polish legion set up in northern Italy by General Jan Dąbrowski. Nothing to do with the Father Dąbrowski that set up Poland. But Jan Dąbrowski set up a Polish legion and inspired the Poles that were living there to march back to Poland to engage in one of the many insurrections and revolts against the oppressive empires that were subjugating Poland. And so the Polish national anthem literally has the words, "March, March, Dąbrowski, from Italy to Poland." And that is emblazoned in the refrain of the national anthem. So every time we sing the national anthem, we invoke the Italian nation.
I'm going to use that again.
But not to be outdone, the Italian national anthem also mentions Poland. And admittedly, it's not in the refrain like in the Polish anthem. It's actually in the 5th verse. But it was written at the same time, around the same time. Italy was also fighting for unification against oppressive empires, including the Austrian Empire. And I've written it down here. In the Italian anthem, it says, "Already the eagle of Austria has lost its plumes. The blood of Italy and Polish blood it drank, but it burned its heart." So that Polish blood and the Italian blood, that revolutionary spirit, united, was very distasteful to the oppressors. And then finally was mentioned Monte Cassino, and there's also another famous battle that I'll have to mention where the Polish Second Corps fought, the Battle of Ancona. And near Ancona, there's a little town called Loreto. And there is a very large Polish cemetery there of Polish soldiers, and it's been maintained beautifully throughout this whole time. And in that cemetery is my great uncle who died and fought as well, fighting in the Italian campaign for the Polish army in the legions. Finally, I'm going to leave you with a little story, and of course, there is no story complete talking about the Polish-Italian connection unless we invoke our famous saint, Pope John Paul II. But when he first came, this is a story that is not that often reported for obvious reasons. But, you know, the Pope brought his own cook to Rome, to the Vatican. He also drank beer at every meal. I don't know if you knew that. Every lunch, rather, not every meal. But he brought his cook, and his cook obviously from Poland, because she was his cook for many, many years when he was the Archbishop in Krakow. And so she came, she, you know, was introduced to the rest of the staff, you know, all the Italian chefs that served the papal household and so on. And then she came to the Pope that evening and said, "I'm really disturbed. I'm really disturbed." And he says, "What's wrong?" And she said, "You know, these Italian chefs, they're stealing our food." "What do you mean they're stealing our food?" She said, "Well, they bring me a dish, show me this dish, they call it gnocchi, and it's our kopitka. They bring me another dish and they call it ravioli, that's our pierogi. And then they bring me what they call Italian sausage, and I said, no, that's kielbasa." So anyway, I just wanted to end with that happy note and to tell you again, thank you very much for being here. And we are now going to introduce the entertainment. Thank you.